So far, decent crowd.
Got a few more people jumping on to join us, so we'll give it just another minute. Let everybody come in. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. All right, well, let's get going and we'll start letting everybody know if they're showing up. But I got everybody cleared out of the weight room. So welcome, everybody. Good evening. My name is Brianna. We're here with Mandy Pulido up in more on your screen. I don't know, she might not be in the same corner as mine. We got Coach Kerwin Johnson on here somewhere. And yeah, we want to thank you guys for being here with us. So Mandy has dedicated her evening just to talk to us and give us some information. She is a life skill coordinator at the University of Incarnate Word. And if I'm correct, you actually started this program. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to hear everything you have to offer and all your knowledge. I know that you've worked with us before last year, I believe. So it's nice to have you back and we appreciate you being here.
No problem. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
And as everybody's rolling in, we're just going to ask if you can just mute your microphone for right now. And then if you do have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat box below and we'll do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll answer all your questions that you have.
Okay, we good to go?
Yeah, Mandy, take it away. It's all yours.
Okay, so hi everyone. I am Mandy. Just to give you a brief history to tell you a little bit about myself, because you're probably wondering like, who's this old lady on the call? So I was a Division I track and field student athlete. I received 2 degrees from the University of Texas at El Paso. I also worked there for 2 years. I also worked at the NCAA, and now I'm working in athletics at the University of Incarnate Word. So the past 8 years, I've been helping high school students transition into college and college students transition into real life. So I have quite a bit of experience in working with young adults and people who are entering college. So one of my main things is I keep it real. I'm not a politically correct person. I believe students learn better that way, and I think you all can comprehend better that way. So that's my plan for the rest of the night. If you all have any questions, you can put them in the chat bar and we'll get to them. Or if you want to unmute yourself, I'm cool with that too. So Coach KJ asked me to talk to you all about a few things today. Just some things to think about when you're entering into college or entering into college athletics. So the few things we're going to run through is talking a little bit about time demands, talking about the college workload, the importance of your development, mental health challenges, peer pressure, utilizing resources, just some general life skills you all should know. And then I'll give you a little bit of last minute advice on my end from seeing it from a student athlete perspective and then seeing it from an athletic administrator perspective. So going into college, the things that students struggle with most is time demands. So time demands meaning all the stuff that's getting put on your plate. So it could be academics, it could be athletics, it could be social life. So you all are being pulled in multiple directions during your time in college. Now, I'm not too sure if you are going to be a student athlete in college, but if you are, athletics requires a ton of different things than if you weren't a student athlete. So there's practice and lifting, conditioning, traveling, competitions, rehab, team meetings, like endless things to do, pulling you in one direction, but then we're also pulling you in a student direction. And we want you to attend class. We want you to study, do homework. You have tutoring sessions. You have to go to this thing called study hall. You have academic advisor meetings. You have to go to professor office hours, possibly meet with me. So you're being pulled in 2 different directions, being a student and being an athlete, which can be very challenging. And then you have to think about other things, like what if you want a job for some spare change, you know? You also have a social life. Some people date, you know, having boyfriends and girlfriends. You know, we also have family demands. We also need to make time to eat, sleep, prioritize our health. So this is the main challenge that freshmen encounter going into college is time demands and how you prioritize and how you manage these types of things. So the NCAA actually did a study about college student athletes. So if you're interested, just listen for this quick tidbit. They wanted to know where everybody's time was going. Where does a student athlete's day go? And so they broke it down with this pie graph. And really 34 hours out of their 160-hour week was going to athletics, 38.5, so almost 40 hours was going to academics. Socializing took up another 17. Sleep was about 46 hours. And if you guys do the math, that's only 6 hours a day. I don't know about y'all, but I need at least 8 to function. If not, I'm a very grumpy human being. So just think about that for a second. And then there's 32 hours left over in the week. So thinking about what do you do with those 32 hours, because you're already being pulled in multiple directions. So these are some sample schedules. This is what I call one of my slacker student athletes. So he did the bare minimum, right? He went to practice, he went to class, he went to weights, he went home. You know, this isn't anything like what I would expect you all to do, because I want you all to join different things. I want you to join clubs. I want you to go to different events. So this is a bare minimum student athlete, okay? He's waking up at 5:30, going to team meetings and to practice, then his first class, his second class, then weights, trying to grab a snack and shower before a nap, going to another class, dinner, study hall, extra studying, and then bed, right? So all of his time is accounted for and during his entire week, right? And so this doesn't even account for, you know, when I want to go talk to my girlfriend or when I want to talk to my boyfriend or my lunches. You know, this is really the cornerstone of your time in school, and it's going to be very busy because the workload is super different. Just some suggestions about time demands. I'm not going to hit on them a lot, but just know that it's one of the major problems plaguing freshman students. I will suggest that you all need to get a planner when you're entering into college and use it. And you might have to schedule every single hour of your day, you know, going from class to eating, to going to your next class, to studying. Make use of the planner, because that's how you can get over, you know, poor time management skills, which is something you'll end up mastering by the time you're a senior. But just going into college, that's the first thing that you're going to be kind of taken back of, because your parents aren't going to be telling you to get to practice. Your teachers aren't going to be telling you to get to class. You're going to have a ton of freedom to do what you want. So you have to manage your time well, because no one else is doing it for you anymore. So that's one of the main problems freshmen face. I would say the next thing would be the type of workload that there is in college. It's pretty different. First and foremost, I'm not too sure if you all know kind of like the college breakdown. So if you're taking one class, that normally equals 3 credit hours. And full-time students, which a lot of people have to be full-time in order to collect financial aid and collect loans, you would have to be a full-time student. So that's normally 12 credit hours. Now the breakdown for this, because I want to talk to you all about studying and the amount of classes, is for every 1 credit hour you take, you'll expend approximately 2 hours outside of class studying for that class. So I did the math here down in the screen for you. I'm not good at math, so I had to write it down. So if you only take 3 hours in college, you'll only be studying 6 to 9 hours a week. Doesn't sound like a lot, right? But if you're taking 15 credit hours, which is what students normally take, you're going to be studying from 30 to 45 hours a week for those courses. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a lot when you think about it hindsight. And remember, I told you all there's 168 hours in a week, and 30 to 45 of that will be for study time. And really, it's because college is a lot different. You know, you don't have 6-hour days of classes. You have 12 hours a week, maybe. It's not like papers are due every now and again and they do like class attendance and check your notebooks and stuff. No, they're going to want you to write 5 to 10 page papers. I found this graph to help break it down for you all a little bit, and I'll make sure they send it out in an email. But there's these evident differences between high school and college academics. So one of the ones that I wanted to note was that most professors they lecture, right? So they're lecturing and you have to constantly take notes. And this requires a lot of thinking outside the box and making your own personal perceptions of the course material, right? So they're not teaching you straight from the book and expecting you to learn it. They're expecting you to make your own references. So I'll make sure to send this graph out to you because I think it can help you realize a big difference between high school and college academics. Now, to help manage the college workload, the main thing you all should know is that prioritizing is key. Sometimes certain assignments aren't going to be due before other ones, so you're going to want to prioritize the ones that are most current and the hardest ones. Sometimes you'll have big papers, sometimes you'll just have like little discussions that you need to get done. So making sure you manage the workload that best suits you, and you guys will figure that out. Making sure you're using tutors. So most universities and most colleges have tutoring services on their campuses, and getting a tutor doesn't mean you're dumb. Like, everyone needs a tutor. No one is a genius in their specific subject. I know I made use of tutors while I was in college, and they definitely helped a lot because sometimes the writing's a lot different and it's a lot harder. So I suggest you find a tutor, make use of tutoring services or their writing and learning center in college, because it can definitely help you, especially in the math and sciences if you struggle in those. So just making sure you're using those things that are offered to you in college to help you manage the course load, because it's going to be a little different and it'll take maybe a semester for you all to get used to. So this is the next area I wanted to talk about was professional development. So this is something that I help our student athletes with. That's what my main job is to do, is to make sure our students are ready and able to enter into the workforce. Now, you all might not be thinking about that right now, but 4 years from now, you will be, and I want you to be ready. So just to think about a few things, going down this road of professional development. I'm not too sure if any of the students on the line have ever heard of resumes, but they're a thing, and everyone needs them to get a job. So freshman year, I want one of your goals to be to create a resume, right? It's super important because it summarizes all your skills and knowledge, and it's going to show your potential employer what you can do. So that's something I want you to think about doing your freshman year, and I hope you all are taking notes because I know you'll forget. Applying to internships your junior and senior year in college is really important, because what employers and what people are looking to hire you, they're not looking for the bare minimum. They're not looking just for a college degree anymore. You know, like for some of us, a college degree was, a stepping, like the biggest step we could ever take. I'm a first generation college student and it was phenomenal. But now people are expecting experience while you're in college. So I suggest you apply for internships while you're in college. And that can even mean like work study positions too. So work study is working for the university and getting paid through financial aid or through a grant. So be on the lookout for that as well, because those are pretty fun jobs that you can get paid for and put on your resume. I also suggest that you all join some type of student organization while you're in college, because again, that looks good on your resume, and then it'll give you a different type of experience. Again, I'm not sure if you're gonna be in sports or if you're gonna play in band or do some type of art. I'm not too sure what everybody's hobbies are on the phone, but joining any type of student organization will go a long way. It'll give you a new set of friends, it'll help you network, and then it'll help you put stuff on your resume. Also joining honor societies when they're available. So that means keeping up your grades. I'm not too sure if anyone's in the National High School Honor Society, but we have honor societies in college as well. Some of them are just university specific, some of them are nationwide. So be on the lookout for things like that to keep your grades up so that they do become available to you. Community involvement also goes a long way when you're in college. So doing different types of community service. I'm not too sure if your schools have you do service now. I know some schools require it, but this is something else to think about, and getting yourself available to certain community events so you can have that on your resume. And then the last two is while you're in college, attending all the events like career fairs and workshops and guest speakers and different type of like involvement fairs, making sure you're getting out to those. I know it looks like some of the cool people aren't doing it, but trust me, it doesn't matter if you're cool in college. It matters if you have experience and if you've been doing the work you're supposed to be doing. So I suggest you guys get out to those and learn a few things, meet some people. It's going to be better for you in the long run, because when you enter college and when you leave college, you're supposed to be two different people, right? You come in as a high school student with no experience, with no idea probably what you want to do for the rest of your life. And you leave with experience, with friends, with a knowledge of where you want your life's work to be dedicated to. So in the middle of that is hard work and getting involved and doing all the things right. So from your development standpoint and from your academic standpoint, these are the things to think about: getting involved, meeting the time demands, and then carrying that workload. And those are hard things already, not even to add on the personal stuff that I'm going to get to in a little bit. So those pieces are really difficult to manage. I mean, a lot of people do it, so I'm not trying to scare you all. I just want to make sure you guys are taking notes and being prepared, because college is a very, very challenging time. So this next topic that I'm going to move into is about mental health. Now, I don't talk about these things to scare people. I talk about them to normalize them. Mental wellness is extremely normal. People all around the world are stressed, anxious, depressed, especially now during COVID-19. So whenever I talk about mental wellness or mental health with anybody, it's because I want to normalize it, right? I suffer from depression and anxiety, but I make sure I know how to cope with it, and I have different coping skills that I use. So most of my work, really working with student athletes, is helping them with their mental health issues, right? So a lot of them come to me stressed out. A lot of them come to me very anxious, and I try to refer them to the correct resources that they need, because these are very real things, right? When I was growing up, my family and my household did not talk about this kind of stuff. It was off limits. But now we're in 2020, and this is pretty much where the headlines are, is mental health. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. I know it can be a little scary, and some of the facts are scary, but it's all for the better. Okay, so just to give you all a little bit of facts. 1 in 4 students in college have a diagnosable mental health illness, which is 25%. 40% of people do not seek any type of help. 80% of students feel overwhelmed by their responsibilities, and 50% have become so anxious that they struggled in school. So I'm not too sure if any of you all on the phone call, even any of the adults, have ever felt too overwhelmed by their responsibilities. I know I have, or too anxious that they struggled in different areas. I know I have as well. So just understanding that there's tons of mental health issues, but the main ones in college are depression, anxiety, suicide, eating disorder, and addiction. But I'm only going to hit on 2 of them today, simply because these are the ones I see the most. And I just want to be able to give you a little bit more knowledge on them. I'll also send you all a link out with all 5 of these, just a little bit more information, because I want to talk a little bit about the symptoms and then recognizing these signs, because it's important for the parents on the call for you to recognize things, but also for the students and the athletes on the call to recognize the signs in yourself too when you're not feeling okay. So as far as depression, which is something I see a lot in, and really for different reasons, you know, it could be for school, could be from sport, could be from relationships, which is where I see a lot of problems, believe it or not. But just some signs and symptoms of depression, you know, just changes in your sleeping habits. Like right now, you might be having trouble sleeping at night because of, you know, being quarantined. You might not be sleeping enough, or you might be oversleeping. Some emotional symptoms is like severe sadness and severe being overwhelmed. Those feelings of feeling hopeless. Some recognizing signs. So if you see it in your friends or in your children, it's when you're not enjoying the activities that you once loved, right? So I used to love going out to run, and one day I just stopped, right? You know, I might have been feeling depressed or some bouts of depression, no longer wanting to be social. So not wanting to talk to friends, not wanting to go out anywhere, experiencing like really extreme anger. So not like, oh crap, but really, really PO'd, right? Just reacting negatively. And then some also often talk about death or suicide. Now I want to talk a little about some symptoms of anxiety. So anxiety rears itself a little differently. You know, this is like irritability, stressed out, trouble concentrating or focusing on one task, or focusing on a million tasks at once, or trying to do that. Sweaty, shortness of breath. You'll also feel like different heart palpitations. So your heartbeat will be irregular. And then the recognizing signs are the same things, that you're just having trouble concentrating, feeling guilty, like having panic attacks. So anxiety and depression rear itself a little bit differently. But once you start recognizing the symptoms and really being self-aware of what's going on in your body, you can say, you know what, I'm going through something right now. I might need to get some help from someone. I might need to talk to a parent. I might need to talk to a counselor. And really that's the main thing I want to talk to you all about with all of these mental health issues, not just depression and anxiety, but all the other stuff that I mentioned. The main thing, if you don't leave this call with anything, because I know I'm going to be talking a lot, is ask for help. That is the main thing I tell my freshmen at orientation, is to ask for help. Ask for help from your teachers, ask for help from your coaches, ask for help from your counselors. Seek out help if you feel like you need help, because that will take you a long way. And sometimes, in some cases, it's a matter of life and death for some of our students. I've seen some very terrible cases where if I didn't see that they weren't acting right, it could have been their life. And this might not be like this for any of you on the call, and I pray it's not, but mental health issues are real. They are a thing. Your mental wellness is one of the most important things you have in your life right now, right? I would love for you all to be happy every single moment of your life, but reality tells me that's not going to happen. And so you have to know the things you can put into place to help with those issues. And again, I don't want to get into everything tonight, so I'll make sure to send out a link with a little bit more talking about these issues, but then some things that you all can put into place for your self-care, right? So some good ideas you can do if you're having a bad day to turn that day around, or if you're not sleeping, send you some insomnia tips as well. So mental health is a big, big topic that we can't even cover in an hour. So I'll make sure to send you all some material that you all can go through at your own pace to learn about it on your own. But these years moving into college and after college, know that this is one of your main things for the rest of your life, that you have to stay sane and find some ways to be happy. So I'm going to move on to another topic because I was talking a little about mental health and academics, but I just want to make sure that you all understand the importance of utilizing resources on your campuses. The reason we have the resources on our campuses is because parents are not experts, students are not experts. I know you think your mom and your dad know everything. My mom and my dad didn't know everything. I had to seek out help. And that's okay. That's why the colleges pay these people money. They pay them to do their job, and they do it well. So again, seek out help. So most campuses and colleges and universities have all of these resources, right? So your academic advising center, this is what's going to help you schedule all of your classes and make sure you're in the right course loads to get your degrees. Your business office is going to help you. If you have any payments that are late, they're going to tell you what you need to pay and how much you owe. You know, campus police will always be there for you. So I suggest whenever you get to campus, you put the police number in there in case you ever need them to walk you to your car, or you have a flat tire or anything like that. Career services is going to be a very big tool. Like I told you in the beginning, I really want you all to focus on your career while you are in college. So using services like career services is going to help you out a lot. Campus life, counseling services I talked about, financial aid if you all have any questions about work studies or your FAFSA or anything like that, the financial aid office is there to help you. Health services is something that students don't make use of a lot, but should, because most health services give out free condoms. They do STD testing, flu testing, all that good stuff. So make sure you use health services. All schools have libraries. Student disability services is going to be important. If you have disclosed that you have a disability, make sure you use disability services. And for sometimes we don't know we have a disability until we go into college, which is great that you realized it in college so you can get the resources that you need, right? For some of us, studying is just a little bit harder because our brains are wired a little bit differently. So we need different resources. So that's why they have disability services on all campuses. And they also have like tutoring services and writing and learning centers, all these things that you can make use of. But reality is some students are not making use of them, right? And they're wandering around aimlessly, not knowing what to do. But there's always a resource out there for you. Make sure you're checking online with whichever university that you're attending, and make sure you're looking for all these things because it's offered to you. You're going to be paying money for it, so you might as well use it. So just making sure you're using the resources is really important. So something that I think would be interesting to talk about, it's a little different from all the resources and all that stuff and academics and athletics. So just to have a real conversation, peer pressure looks a lot differently these days. You know, college is a lot different from when I went to school 13 years ago. You know, students are a lot braver. You know, the access and the use of social media is something that astounds me. Like, I don't understand TikTok, but y'all use TikTok all the time. I personally think TikTok's too loud, so I don't use it. But, you know, social media is at your guys' palm, and you're putting everything, you're putting your whereabouts all the time on social media. You know, students are trying new drugs. Students are coping differently. Students are experimenting with sex. And then, you know, students have this sense of adulthood where they know everything. So I can't even give you an advice because they know everything already. So just knowing, parents, that when your students going to college, all these things are very real and very evident. You know, it's just making sure that excuse me? Oh, I thought someone said something. So these things are very real. So obviously my advice is going to be the positive route. You know, if you're using social media, be smart about what you put on there, right? I know people always talk about like, don't post something your grandma wouldn't be proud of. Well, my grandma's not on social media, so I don't care about that. But I tell my kids, don't post something that your kid would be embarrassed of one day. So if I were to ever have children, I wouldn't post anything that my child would be embarrassed of, right? So thinking about that right now, like, what kind of snaps are you sending your friends? What kind of things are you guys putting on your Instagram stories? So being mindful of that. Just say no. I saw Nathan Gavin wrote. That's funny. I wish it was that easy. Drugs, they're going to be out there. You know, obviously, I would love for no one to try drugs, but I'm not delusional. I just want you all to be safe, right? The same goes with alcohol. Just say no. I wish it was that easy. Be smart. Coping. We talked about mental health. You know, I would love to see everybody cope with their mental health issues in positive ways and not in negative ways. So when I do send you those materials were made so that it steers you away from coping the wrong way. Sex, it happens, right? Be safe about it. But this last one is the one that kills me all the time, is when I'm trying to advise a student and give them advice and they respond with, I know. I don't know if the parents are on the call and they hear their kids saying that all the time, but you don't know everything. I promise you, my 30 years on life severely outweigh your 18. So when people are trying to give you advice, it's because they care and they don't want you to make the same bad decisions that they may have made in the past or that they've seen people make in the past. So peer pressure, Very real thing in college. Let me see, clicking over to the next. Oh, okay, this one's kind of funny because a lot of students get to college and don't know like general life skills. Like some of them have never washed a dish before. Some people have never done laundry or cleaned the bathroom. So if that's something in the summer, parents, you want to get your students or your kids involved in, I mean, I would definitely say so, because the last thing I want to do is teach someone how to do laundry when they come to campus, but I've definitely done that before. Changing a flat tire is super crucial. I know when I left the house, that was the first thing my brother taught me because he wanted to make sure I didn't get stranded somewhere. And then understanding car maintenance. So understanding when your car needs an oil change, right? Or if something doesn't sound right, bringing it to someone's attention, because again, we don't want you to be stranded somewhere. Basic budgeting is necessary in college. I know our kids like to spend all their money on Chick-fil-A as opposed to eating in the cafeteria, which I think is crazy, but learning how to balance the money that you are getting in. Some of you all will get some checks from financial aid and never have seen that kind of money before. So you'll spend them on Jordans or you'll spend them on Nikes. And no, you need that money for survival, okay? You need that money for survival. Paying bills, if you've never paid a bill before or don't know what that looks like, maybe sit by your parents and watch them pay bills one day. Simple cooking strategies. Heating up ramen is not cooking, right? Making a bowl of cereal is not cooking. So maybe again, asking your parents like, hey, can we make a meal together? Or can I help you chop, celery or chop any type of vegetable? Doing things like that, buying your own groceries. Talked about time management. I wish I could have a whole session on sex education and condoms and STDs and birth control, because the rate of STDs is climbing in college. And it wouldn't be if people took the correct measures, right? And the correct measures could mean abstinence and it also could mean condoms. But again, sex is going to be a very big topic in college. So unless you aren't planning for something, then don't make it happen, right? So use preventative measures, especially if you're allowed to in your religions or however your religious beliefs are. The three things that I think students also struggle with are the last three, and it's looking at situations from other perspectives. So you're in high school right now, probably going to school with the same people you've been going to school with for the last 4 or 5 years, but then you enter into college and people think differently, people look different, people believe differently, right? So learning how to appreciate other people's perspectives is something you all will grow to do. And being resilient and adaptable, right? Things are going to be thrown at you from every direction, like I said, and it's learning to adapt to every situation with grace, right? And being resilient. That's something that is very hard to teach. It's really a learned skill because you have to go through it to understand it. And then healthy relationships, right? My students struggle with relationships all the time. It could be with their boyfriends or girlfriends, or it could be with their best friends, right? So knowing that going into college, you're going to struggle with these items, but there's always a way to get better and there's always a way to grow. Asking someone for help, asking your parents, how do you guys have a successful marriage? Or how do you encounter these problems in your friendships? What do you all do to manage them? Because again, relationships is going to be another tester for your college experience. So just some last minute advice, some things that I might have mentioned, might not have. Going and entering into college, everyone's going to go to some type of orientation. I suggest you pay attention during orientation and not just blow it off. They're giving you a lot of good information. Make sure you're checking your emails because they send you a ton of different information in your emails, and then you continue to check your emails and you check them every day and you put them on your phone and you do all that, because if not, you're going to miss things like deadlines. You're going to miss financial aid deadlines. You're going to miss tons of stuff that you're supposed to know that it's getting sent to your email. Find apps and study tips. I send my student athletes tons of different apps they can use to study or for relaxation. I can send to this group as well because they do help you all stay organized and they teach you a little bit how to study. Again, understanding warning signs, empowering your children and your friends to learn how to advocate for yourselves, because once you're out of the nest, you know, it's your life and you're here to rock it. So no one knows what you need until you speak up for your needs. And that's one thing our students struggle with, is telling us when something is wrong. I can't read anybody's mind. I can't read anybody's mind on this phone call right now. But someone's struggling right now and they haven't told anybody, right? So advocating for yourselves when something isn't right or when you need something. Find some balance, right? It's not all about sports and it's not all about studying, right? There's always time to have fun. There's always time to have a social life, and making sure you're checking in with your family. So finding some type of balance is going to be key. Again, use the support services that are offered to you. Use them, use them, use them. I'm a big proponent of them. Practice self-care, so taking care of yourself, different types of things. And then buy a planner. Again, super important to schedule out your day. There's tons of stuff going on. Promise you, you're gonna miss classes because you forgot you had it. Set timers, set alarms, do everything you possibly can to remember. I know there's a lot, and I know it was all over the place. When I was asked to be on this call, it was like, what do students need? I'm like, they need everything, you know? So college is very fun. Don't make this presentation seem like it was all bad. It was just trying to help you with the hard stuff, right? Because there's hard stuff in college and there's tons of fun stuff. Does anyone have any questions?
Feel free, if you have questions, you can unmute your mic, or if you'd like to type it in the chat, you're welcome to do that as well.
I know I talked a lot and really fast.
No, well done, well done.
I will say, don't think you have to go into college and expect to know your major. I didn't know my major until I was a junior in college. I was a bit of a slacker that way. So don't make them force you into nursing. Don't make them force you into rehabilitative sciences. If that's not your thing, that's not your thing, and don't study something you don't want to study, because that you're the one who has to do the coursework, right? So I also struggled with that in college. I struggled a little bit my first year remembering my practice times, so getting my butt to practice. Towards the end, I got a little like senioritis, you know, I might have partied too, right? Being very honest. But again, like I said, sometimes we don't make the best decisions, but that's why people get in front of you and try to give you advice so you don't make the same bad decisions they did. I know y'all got some type of questions. Is everyone heading into college right now? No, some of you aren't? Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Like, what ways can help you decide your major? Like, if you're unsure right now, is there something that can help?
Ooh, yeah. So are you going to a specific college soon?
I'm going to St. Mary's, yes.
Okay, so St. Mary's will have a career services department, and they have different tests that you can take to help show you where your skills lie and what careers might be good for you, which will help you point you to a major. So I would suggest, like, right when you get onto campus, don't declare if you don't have to, and make sure you meet with your career services office and take those little aptitude tests so you can learn a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything stressing anyone out about going into college, or do you think you have it all figured out? If you do, rock on. Okay, tough crowd. I feel you.
I think one of the things that I would probably struggle with is time management. Like, personally, I'm pretty lazy, but like when you were talking about the hours in college, like, I don't see, like, I hope I can play sports in college, but like, can you like elaborate more like on how to like manage your time with, like, I kind of want to go into like a difficult major, but I also want to play sports. So I don't know how to play that, you know?
So for the sport aspect, I mean, if you do have the choice to do it, I would suggest you do, because sports teaches you so many intangibles in college that you just can't replace with regular experience. But managing the time, it's really prioritizing what's important. So you have to go to class, clearly. So you got to put that, you know, in your day-to-day activities. I obviously ask every student to buy a planner and schedule out every hour of their day. So if they're waking up at 5:30, then they wake up, set their alarms, set multiple alarms, and then make sure that they're hitting every single task that they have to do on their to-do list. And it's really as simple as writing down, go to class at 8, go to my second class at 9:30, go to lunch at 11 because I have a class at 12, right? Study from 1:30 to 3, and then go to my next class. Like it just depends on your day-to-day schedule. But really, to start off with, writing down your schedule is the best thing to do in order to start learning time management and making use of whatever type of planner you like best. Some of them are monthly planners, some of them are weekly, some of them you need like your own specific day. So start off with buying a planner.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone know if they're going to be playing sports in college yet? Yes, I see some head shakes. No, yes. Does anyone have any sports related questions? Chat.
So I just put a link in the chat group, and Mandy, once we get all the information from you, I'll put that up on the link. So if anybody does have any questions or wants to reach out, if you don't mind, I'll include contact information for you as well. And then the resources that you provide us. So y'all feel free to go online, check that out. And then if you want to rewatch any of this video, or if you want to share this with anybody, it'll be available for you as well. But if we don't have any questions, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Mandy, do you have anything else that you'd like to?
No, good luck. It's not bad at all. I just wanted to keep you on the loop of just some of the things I've seen. You know, college is a great time. It was the best 4 years of my life. But it did prepare me to be the woman I am today. I had to learn a lot of hard lessons. And now I get to work with young students, some like you know, going into college. So it's a great time. Prepare yourself, have fun, make good choices, and kill it, really.
I have another question, sorry.
Okay.
It's something about like peer pressure. We hear about like kids like nowadays they get pressured into doing something, but typically like they just do it because it's not as severe, like it's something that, like, I don't know what in college, like everything is more mature and stuff. Like what would you say, like if you get like pressured into doing something but like something severe, like I don't know, but
okay, yeah, no, it's funny because as human beings we think nothing's bad is going to ever happen to us until it actually happens to us, right? I don't know about you guys, but that's how I think. Like right now you don't think you'll get COVID-19 until you actually get it. So for instance, say you're at a party and someone offers you a drug you've never even seen before in your life, right? Some of you all just know of like weed and marijuana, but nowadays there's all these types of drugs that I couldn't even fathom, right? And they offer you a drug and you take it and you overdose, right? But no one calls the police because they don't want to get in trouble. That's the kind of spiral things that happen on college campuses, at college parties. Like it does happen, right? So the best thing is to say no because you don't know anything about it, right? Never take anything you don't know about, right? Never leave a drink unattended because you have no idea what could possibly happen. And I hate to say it, I just don't trust everybody in this world, right? So those are the kind of bad things that I think of when I think of like drugs. because the last thing I want to hear about is an overdose on a college campus or anything like that. So I know the easiest advice is to just say no, but really it's just that easy, right? Drugs aren't cool. So just learning how, again, to speak up for yourself, because if everybody's doing it, peer pressure is telling you to do it. Don't do it. It's not even worth it. Really isn't.
Awesome. Thank you guys for the questions. Thank you, Mandy, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Coach Kerwin, Coach Nate, Coach Adriano, thank you for being on the call with us. And thank you everybody else for tuning in. If you guys have any questions at all, you can feel free to shoot us an email or visit that link that I put in the chat box so you can learn more about the different Zooms that we're doing. And if you need additional information, you can reach out to us. So thank you guys. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.